Very much, Mr. Chair. It's always nice to see you, Minister, and of course the rest of your department who are here with you today. If we could, Minister, you mentioned the CWB in your remarks. If we could explore some of that in the sense of the understanding is, at least, and it's hard to understand it because we're on the outside and we don't necessarily have enough information, it seems. Did we sell the CWB or did we just transfer the assets to G3?
Neither. They've taken on a partnership called G3. The assets of the CWB are still there working for farmers under the new entity. It's a partnership between G3, which is a Canadian registered company, made up of Bunge and Salic, which owns 50.1% and 49.9% will be owned by the Farmers Trust under the CWB.
So when you say neither, does that mean the government still has a controlling interest in the CWB? Because presently you do now.
Not at all. It's now a private sector entity. Taxpayers no longer backstop or guarantee the workings of the CWB as they did during the single desk era.
So would you not agree then that you've actually done something like maybe move it to someone else away from your control?
Oh, absolutely. They now will answer to farmers much more directly than they ever will as an arm's length to the government.
So can you tell us what role the directors that were appointed by you would have played in the decision, or who played roles in the decision about choosing G3?
The directors themselves of the CWB, they were in charge of the end game. They hired the audit firm Deloitte as well as a legal team to ascertain which was the right partner moving forward. They had some 52 different entities, including Farmers of North America, put forward ideas. The unfortunate part with the FNA proposal was it didn't come with any dollars or any kind of plan attached. What they were shopping for and the outline they had put forward was someone who had the ability to capitalize, someone who had the logistics capacity and the ability to expand the footprint of CWB across Canada, not just in Western Canada anymore, as well as build port capacity both east and west coasts.
So if memory serves me correctly, did we not as Canadian taxpayers put $300 million up as a backstop at some point when CWB was changed with the legislation? Is that correct?
Yes. In order to keep the CWB viable, they needed a foundation of taxpayers' money to pay down the pension demands that were there, pay off the bills that were against the building, the rail cars. There was a small down payment made on 2 boats that had to be paid out. So there's a number of things that were needed in order to keep the CWB whole so they could move forward. The chair's going to cut me off, so the last question obviously would be in this particular aspect. Did the Canadian taxpayer get any money back from this transaction? Well, they will with the economic driver that the CWB will become.
No, I'm not looking down the road. Did they actually get any money from
There's
G3?
different ways to collect tax and so on, Mr. Allen. Certainly over time, they will see that money returned.
Well, that's
in the
like
economic
me buying
driver
a house, Mr.
that
Speaker,
Canada will
from
become.
Mr. Dreeshen and saying I'm going to pay his property taxes. I mean, if I buy a property, I actually pay for it. If I say, well, you'll get your money back at some point in time because I'll continue to pay the property taxes. What I'm asking is, did G3 write a check to the Canadian government and say, here's some of your money back?
Well, that was
never
part of it, Mr. Allen. And I guess it would be like the money that your party owes the Canadian taxpayer for these offices you put together and so on. When will we see that back? Over time, probably.
I didn't realize that was part of the Agriculture Committee, but I guess that's part of your report.
Well, you used an analogy, so did I.
So at the end of the day, I guess the question still remains, did they pay any money back to the Canadian taxpayer, yes or no? That's kind of simple.
No, not directly. Indirectly, they will, yes.
Thank you. I appreciate the candor, Minister.
Yeah.
So can you update what kind of remuneration would have went to either the board of directors or those who were left running the CWB, who by indications will only be there for a short period of time before they move on?
The transition should be complete early July is the number I think that the G3 and the CWB are looking at. I haven't been privy to that. At the end of the day, then the directors that are there now aren't eligible to move on to be part of the new entity. They actually stop.
So will they receive some form of severance or reward actually for their role in any of this? Because you've said they've made the decision. So is there remuneration for them for doing what they've just done, which is basically hand over to CWB?
Not from my department, not from Canadian taxpayers, no.
Is there any from the other entity called G3?
I have no idea what the other entity will do. They're a private sector entity. I don't know what agreements they have. I don't.
Except the folks who are there now are part of a Crown corporation.
Sorry?
they're part of a crown, the folks that are there now. Right now, at the moment,
it's
they're part of a
it's
crown.
not even a crown. It's an arm's length holding of government, but it's not even considered a crown. It's an anomaly.
But they report to you.
Thank you very much.
They don't anymore.
Thank you very much, Mr. Allen. Time is up.